Celebration, the act of celebrating an important day, event, or victory. Battlefront 2 going from how it launched to how it is now is objectively one of the biggest victories in modern gaming history, at least for its audience. It's a turnaround that really is rooted in celebrating the people who have played the game, and it's kind of unbelievable it happened under EA's watch, with the reputation that precedes them. I do think, however, it's because of the DICE team based up north in Sweden, because of the seriously passionate and talented Star Wars fans working on this game, that the game is worth celebrating. They're extremely passionate about the jobs, and it's evident by scrolling through their Twitter feeds. I don't think we could have asked for a better team to work on this game. Despite some dark times in communication, they've never lost their positive attitude. This doesn't mean they haven't been sassy or clapped back at some trolls on Twitter, but they have managed to maintain cheery personas throughout. I don't know what black magic they used to keep EA off their backs, or maybe it was Disney, we don't know, but it is truly remarkable. I thought we could look at all the victories brought to us that led up to this game being how great it is now, and how I personally feel about each one of them. Okay, first the small victories. The first victory I managed to cling to fairly close to that disastrous launch was the reorganization at DICE that put our beloved Dennis, who is now franchise director, in charge of the whole Battlefront operation. It was also a relief to finally clarify that he was not in charge of putting those loot boxes in the system, signaling that the rest of the team wasn't the biggest fans either. Okay, so the first victory the community could definitely point to was the reworking of the reward system. Basically, more credits were to be awarded at the end of each match. The important signal here is that real tangible change did happen, so we could believe that real tangible change was to come. So the whole fucked progression system. Side note, I don't think the system was too bad as a whole. I've seen people say the 4 levels of the cards was too much and only implemented to drive loot boxes, but it was clearly just an upgrade to the 2-level system we had in Battlefront 2015. A real big signal to the community was the interactive event that came alongside the launch of the Last Jedi content. It was nice to have the new heroes cost nothing to unlock, but the real victory came in how engaged the community that had remained was on achieving victory for the side. It was the first time a core audience was really talking to each other and starting to build the foundations of what this wonderful community would become. So those were all the nice small victories we got. For a while, I thought all we were going to get was small victories, besides the progression update they promised, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, I didn't expect much out of this game, but shit, did we ever get some incredible news and moments that warrant the label of bigger than smaller victories. There are certain victories that kept growing, and these have been the biggest focuses of my celebration amongst the celebration the game is all seeming to have right now. Ben's appointment has undisputedly been the best moment for this game overall. If you remember, the communication before the appointment was dire. Surrounded by fear and bureaucratic nonsense, it seemed communication was destined to remain awful. Was good communication even possible? That was a serious question before Ben entered our lives. I'm sure I could talk for hours about how Ben improved this game for the better, but the main points are that he made communication 1,000 times better and managed to change the tone in the general community. The March progression update was one of the biggest moments for this game, and was seemingly got the last vestige of mainstream news coverage. The reason it keeps on giving, however, is the allowance it gives us to dunk on any 12-year-old plebs that are unfortunate enough to comment, "Why are you playing this pay-to-win trash?" in the chat. But for real, it allowed for an actual rewarding system to enjoy the game, and they've made a few good tweaks to it since. The biggest continuous victory DICE has given us is listening. That huge Clone Wars announcement at E3 2018 was the biggest indicator of this. Constantly and throughout this live service, DICE have proven that they've listened to the community with what they've released, and this has shaped the game in the community's favor. Not many games get this treatment, and I'm extremely grateful for it. Now, the biggest victory is always fun to recap, so let's do that now. The Clone Wars heroes were really the crowning achievement of this game. Each one was meticulously crafted, except for Anakin, who was crafted exclusively for 3-year-olds playing arcade on the easiest setting and still finding it hard, and made to be exactly how they were in the Clone Wars, again except for Anakin. If you just remove Anakin, then the game is just an Ahsoka's and Ventress away from a full Clone Wars immersive experience. Okay, only this version of Anakin. All the heroes have personalities, style and flair, and some have been requested since 2015's Battlefront. Their inclusions in the game were done brilliantly. Feedback has definitely shown this. Everyone seems to love the new heroes that we got, and I'm glad they were done so well. Next, Infiltrators were a nice surprise, and because they were released post-launch, they were really molded by the meta of this game. Clone Commandos, not so much, but it's still a welcome addition. They all feel really cool. The Droidicas, if you don't know, there was a promotional image released by the team showing off some of the first new clone appearances, and in the image you could see what was quite clearly a Droidica. Turns out they had snuck this in way too early and essentially lied, claiming it was a crash speeder. This sparked outrage, memes, and backlash from the community. Needless to say, almost everyone was overjoyed when they made it into the game later. I wasn't going to take a side on it either way, but I will say it's a nice addition, and I'm glad they're in the game. Capital Supremacy felt like the biggest victory to me. Even though I don't play it as much, I can appreciate the adding of a new mode that pays homage to Conquest, which is a mode that seemingly anyone who's ever heard of this game demands be included in it. There's some unique elements to it, but for the most part, I would say it seems to scratch a primal itch amongst Battlefront fans, and its inclusion is definitely viewed as a victory on their part. Overall, I like the fact that this game has achieved many victories. It's a success story I'm personally inspired by. The team learned from their mistakes, cut off influences from any negative direction, and integrated with the community. They showered us with what we wanted, and worked so incredibly hard to do so. I do really think it's time for a celebration.